you can't be betrayed by a stranger. You know, they could rip you off, but they can't break your heart. If your heart gets broken, it's because you love that person and you thought they loved you. So overcoming betrayal is not easy. And yet it can happen and love will come to you again. But first you have to go through all the darkness.
You do. And I do that reminds me of this quote I had written down when you and I had done our last podcast. I loved this. You said, love is something we can experience over and over again when we open our hearts to it. If a relationship if a relationship ends, it's not the end. So how do people heal their heartache? How can they mend this sense of horrible betrayal within them?
You know, you just have to really go through the process. You know, you have to really admit, yes, this totally sucks. I feel like crap. You know, it really hurts. And, you know, I'll do better next time. I'll make better choices, better decisions. I won't wait 8 or 10 or 20 years knowing that this isn't right. And some of it I really believe is also karma. You know, you don't get through life unscathed. We're not supposed to get through life unscathed, but we are supposed to get the lessons that we get. You know, at some point you got to learn. So if you're making the same mistakes over and over again, you know, take some personal responsibility for it and reach out for help. I mean, this is why God made therapists and coaches and best friends. You know, there are people who want to love you and support you and hold your hand through it. And just know that, um, you know, the worst is over. You know, whatever happened, happened. The worst is over. Now, what are the baby steps you can take, you know, to get over it, to get through it, and to always know that there's no shortage of love in the world. You know, even if you're not feeling it right now, it's going to come, you know, but first you have to be open, willing, and available. And sometimes you need to spend some time grieving before you can get to that spot.
You know, and I really feel that. I love that you say that. I think it's such an important message from someone like myself who has been married more than a couple times. I feel like it's important that through our whole lives, we can find love. It doesn't mean that there's this finite supply and at one point it runs out and now no more for us.
Right. Right. There's no love Nazi doing the soup Nazi thing. No more love for you, you know. And yet there are people who believe that. They believe the myth that we each only get one big love in a lifetime. And it's not true. It's absolutely not true. And the other thing, the myth I'd really like to bust is that just because a relationship ends doesn't mean you need to stop loving the person. There's a lot of pain in trying to pretend you don't love somebody. And you can love them, but you need to not obsess about them. So even if the relationship ended really horribly, you can still have a little piece of your heart that still loves them and wishes well for them and has decided not to kill them. Right? And then just don't obsess. They're not coming back. You don't even really want them back. You know, so anytime you spend wasting fantasizing, if only, you know, especially if they're remarried to somebody else, you know, you got to do what Cher said, snap out of it, you know, get over it. And you need to be that person for yourself. You know, they're not coming back. You know, they left you for somebody else. It's horrible. And, you know, there's a way in which I love the phrase rejection is protection.
Yeah.
You know, rejection is protection. And there's somebody else out there, somebody much better for you, that if you could heal yourself enough and get visible again, would walk into your life and give you the love you deserve.
I love that. What an important distinction, Ariel. This thing of like it's okay because I think sometimes that is part of what inhibits the healing process is that people are like, okay, this guy was a jerk or this woman was a jerk, so now I have to hate that person or I can't have these feelings. And how lovely that yeah, it's okay to know this person wasn't for you. This isn't right and that it's
Or
okay to still have that
even,
love.
even the higher level is, you know what? Maybe this was our karma together. Who knows what I did to him or her in my past life? You know, that this was just retribution. Whatever it is, we're not going to know. So let's make up a good story about it. Okay. It's like, yes, in our last lifetime together, I was the man, he was the wife. I slept with all her best friends. I did this, that, and the other thing. Now he got me back. We're even, right? And just remember the good times. There were good times in there. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Well, yeah. And I love too, Wayne Dyer had said, I remember really resonating also with the words that he had said about, we have contracts. Sometimes we have relationship contracts with people
Yes.
in this life. And
Soul
it's like,
contracts.
yeah, old contracts. And so it's like,
Soul.
oh,
Soul
oh,
contracts.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Soul
Soul
contracts.
contracts. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And so, that actually helped me in my last marriage go, oh, okay, we had something we were needing to fulfill. We did
Yes.
this 12 years and we raised 4 amazing kids. And now for the last 12 years that I haven't been married to him, it's like, yeah, this was supposed to happen too. Like I would never have accessed the life I'm leading now had I stayed married.
Right. Yeah. And I don't think we're supposed to have all the answers. I think we just need to accept, like, here's where I am today. What could I do? What's the highest, most loving thing I can do for me today, as opposed to why. People want to know, why did they do that? Well, whether they tell you the truth or they lie about it, how does the why help you at all? It's like when you're on a diet and somebody offers you a chocolate chip cookie and you eat it. Well, why? Because it's there and it looked good and I was hungry and I love chocolate chip cookies. Did I just step over my own boundary? Did I promise myself to eat less sugar? Yes. And it was there. So, like, this whole having to understand every human behavior, I think just really messes us up. It's like, what can I do right now in this moment? What could I do that would be fun, that would make me happy, that would help me let go? And that's why I like, cognitive therapy, like tapping makes so much sense. You know, it's like, so I'm getting a headache. I could analyze, why am I getting a headache? Or I could take 5 minutes and tap my way out of the headache. What's going to serve me more?
Perfect. Tapping, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. I tap probably 5 days a week about something.
I love that. I love that. As a psychotherapist, I use EFT all the time. I use EMDR
Why
for
wouldn't you?
people.
Yes. Why wouldn't you?
Of
You know,
course.
it's like, yes, I could take a little yellow pill or I could tap. I could just acknowledge, oh, I'm feeling really stressed out. Why am I stressed out? No, who cares why? Let's just not be stressed.
Isn't that beautiful? I love that, Ariel, because it's like we experience those emotions in our body, right? We get the hit, we get the tightness in our chest or in our throat. And instead of having to analyze what that is about, to know that it's there, to be in tune with ourselves, and then we can release it. I talk about it like changing the channel. We don't have to focus
Yes,
on this awful, I would say like screamo music that we don't enjoy. Instead, we can change the channel and tune in and do something that really serves us.
it makes so much more sense to do that.